I wonder how I can positively frame things in my classroom.
You can live in the now.
Do you mean like do yoga?
Yes. And not stress about the past or things you can't control in the future. You can also assume overall positive regard for your students. Don't assume the worst of them. Assume the best of everyone. Every day's a new day.
Wow. What else?
You can allow your students to have plausible deniability. Don't call out your students by name.
That's amazing. Do you have any other tips for me?
Precisely 3 more. You could build momentum and narrate the positive. So that means like calling out your students when they're doing something good. Do you need a break?
No, I got it.
Calling out your students when they're doing something positive instead of negative.
Sorry. Calling out my students when they do something positive? Wow. Okay.
Right. You can also challenge your students. That shows that you believe in them and you're willing to give them an extra step to prove that they know something.
And there's one more?
There is one more. Let's talk about your expectations and aspirations for your students. Always go a little bit beyond what you actually believe. If you have a classroom full of students, be like, wow, you look like a group of college scholars. Even though you might not really believe it, it really encourages your students.
My mind has been blown. Okay. Is maintaining your composure in the classroom even when things don't go as expected.
So Mrs. Julia, I've got to say, I recently watched your most recent video on the countdown, and I am so impressed with your emotional consistency. Tell me how you do it.
Thank you, Teacher Megan. For emotional consistency, the tricks are to tread cautiously with language and tone, reframe statements to make about students' behaviors rather than how you feel, and stay under control. Nice.
I just wanna see you shine. Girl, you're tearing that dance floor up. Let me see you do it in the bed of my truck. You sure know how to shake it alright. Let me see you do it in the Tennessee moonlight. Whoa, baby, let's go down the little road nobody else knows. Just me and you parked on the edge of the world. That's how I wanna see you, girl.
So, Teacher Megan, a lot of people say this song is about meeting a girl at a bar. What's your take on that?
Oh no, I've heard those rumors too. I don't know where they would get that idea. The song's actually about when your student learns something, like taking that knowledge and putting it in a new situation and using this pre-existing idea in the new situation, and that's really how you know that your students are proficient at what they've learned. So in the video, if you remember, you'll see someone tying a shoe on a rock, and we're thinking, I wonder if they can apply that to a new situation. And then they do it in the back of the truck too, and the bow, it's tied again. And you know, it's like amazing because they've learned the concept. They're able to apply it to a new situation.
You're right. That is amazing.
It is. Okay.
Will remember you. Will you
let your life pass you by. Weep not for memories. I'm so tired that I can't sleep, standing on the edge of something much too deep. It's funny how we feel so much, we can't say a word, but we are screaming inside. We can't be
All of these games we play, I can't even keep them all straight. Do we mean what we say? We got lines crossed all over the place, yeah. I can't tell if I'm winning or losing. Somebody tell me, what are we doing? Nobody ever comes out on top. Tell me, are we ever gonna stop playing these games?
Okay. Teacher Megan, what would you say the drivers of a happy classroom are?
The drivers of a happy classroom, I would say, are energy, passion, enthusiasm, fun, and humor. If you've watched my latest music video, the song's about games that we play, and there's so many that we just can't keep them all straight because we play so many games in our classroom, because they're really just the drivers of that positive environment. If you can engage your students in games, that's awesome.
I'm the opposite of moderate, immaculately polished with the spirit of a hustler and the swagger of a college kid. Allergic to the counterfeit, impartial to the politics, articulate but still a grabber by the collar. Whoever having problems with their record sales, just holler tip. If that don't work and all else fails, then turn around and follow tip. I got love for the game, but hey, I'm not in love with all of it. Could do without the fame, and rappers nowadays are comedy. The hooting and the hollering, back and forth with the arguing. Where you from, who you know, what you making, what kind of car you in. Seems as though you lost sight of what's important when depositing injects into your bank account and you up out of poverty. Your values is in disarray, prioritizing horribly. Unhappy with the riches cause you're piss poor morally. Ignoring all prior advice and forewarning, and we mighty full of ourselves all of us.
Everybody watching what I do, come walk in my shoes and see the way I'm living if you really want to. Got my mind on my money and I'm not going away. So keep on getting your paper, keep on climbing, look in the mirror, keep on shining. Till the game ends, till the clock stops, we gon' post up on the top spot, living the life.
Julia, I've heard that it's not possible for one to be both warm and strict, yet in your new music video, you seem to be countering this argument. Can you talk about that a little bit?
That's right, Teacher Megan. High expectations mean you care. Warmness and strictness are not mutually exclusive.
Wow.
I did it again. I made you believe we're more than just friends. Oh baby, it might seem like a crush, but it doesn't mean that I'm serious. 'Cause to lose all my senses, that is just so typically me. Oh baby, baby, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh baby, baby, you think I'm in love, that I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent.
So Teacher Megan, I recently saw a teacher, that's a lot of teacher in one sentence, but who had a bunch of smart kids in her classroom and were complimenting them regularly, but they weren't getting any better. Your video takes a different approach. Explain that.
does take a different approach. What research has told us is that complimenting a student for being smart is actually counterproductive. They don't want to take positive risks if you do that. What you want to do is compliment the effort. Nice effort, bud. And then they know that it's a trait that they can continue to do. Effort's a trait, but smart isn't. You might not be able to replicate the smart work, and so that's what causes students to not want to take those positive risks. But if you say nice effort, you can put effort toward anything, and students will want to take those positive risks.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of